innings, only has allowed 5 earned runs. That's the 3rd lowest ERA in a pitcher's first 5 starts against the Mets among any active pitcher. Well, is he an ageless wonder? I don't know about that, but he is a guy that is one of the oldest players and certainly the oldest pitcher right now in the major leagues. 42 years old. Colon hasn't pitched 6 innings in his last 3 starts, but he'll get the call here tonight. It is game number 2 of this doubleheader. It's the St. Louis Cardinals and the New York Mets. The umpires have arrived on the scene and exchange the lineup cards as we get set. Fans still coming in, so it looks like they push back the start time a few minutes. Let the fans get settled in here to Citi Field. An exciting game number 1 for the St. Louis Cardinals as the Cardinals held on by the score of 3-2 against New York. So Terry Collins and the Mets against Mike Matheny and the Cardinals. Game number 2 from Citi Field is coming up on Fox Sports Midwest. Game number 2 is upon us, and this is Greg Garcia. Garcia will lead it off for St. Louis and play third base against Bartolo Colon. The Cardinals pounded Colon 16 runs in his 2 starts against them last year. It was Colon's second highest single season ERA against a team. It wound up being 15.58. And if you're looking to see split fingers and sliders and curveballs, don't watch Colon. It's fastball after fastball. He'll put a little cut to it, but he's throwing strikes and it's fastballs.
It's about 4 to 5 to maybe 6 speeds on a fastball. That's
fun to watch,
that's
though.
his stuff. Oh, he is. It's fun to watch because of his stature. Not fun to watch when you're 60 feet 6 inches away as a hitter.
No, sir.
No. Still got it.
And the 1-2 pitch to Garcia. Taken just a bit high. Home plate umpire is the crew chief. That's Mike Winters. Mark Wegner down at first. Mike Mulchinski at second. Ben May is over at third. And the 2-2 pitch to Gregg. On the inside corner. And that's how we start game number 2. St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, by Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Beautiful skyline of New York. And here is Diaz. First pitch he sees, it's popped up. Juan Lagares, a Gold Glover 2 years ago, makes the catch, and there's 2 down. So the Hyundai pitch arsenal, look at that. I don't think we've seen any guy that we've broken down with this arsenal at 88% with a fastball.
Yeah, along with that, his control is remarkable. And if you're a catcher, you've got to love this guy. He has not thrown a wild pitch in the last 2.5 years. Think about that. It means
incredible.
No balls in the dirt. So you don't have to worry about that. He's always going to give you a pitch to throw if runners are on base and they try to steal a base. I mean, he's an older high ball pitcher, and he's not particularly overpowering.
Used to be.
Got the guts of a burglar. Oh, did he ever. Won the Cy Young Award back in 2005. Pitching for the Angels, I believe, at the time, wasn't he?
That's right. Here's an 0-1 pitch. See, even right there.
Yeah.
Little tail to it.
That's a pitch he struck Greg Garcia out with. Think it's inside and it tails back over the plate.
Works from the first base side of the rubber, and the 0-2 pitch. Holiday is swing and a miss. So 2 strikeouts here in the top of the first against Bartolo Colon. Jaime Garcia to the mound when we come back. Garcia. As we talked about before, 1.29 ERA in 5 starts in his career against the Mets. This will be his 20th start of the year. His record stands at 7-6. And we know when right, he can be as good as anybody in baseball. All kinds of movement with his pitches.
Fastballs are not your normal fastballs like they are with Bartolo Colon. But his fastball could dip, sink, sail. Very unpredictable. A fair breaking ball. And a good changeup.
Juan Lagares leads it off against Jaime Garcia. Cabrera, Cespedes, Flores, Walker, Loney, d'Arnaud, Diaza, and Colon. Juan Lagares is hitting .248 this year. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. Hyundai pitch arsenal here with Jaime. The fastball moves all over the place. Changeup, cutter, and the curveball. Thought you made a great point. You know, you win game 1, you're on the road of a doubleheader. Come out now in game 2, free and easy, relaxed.
You're free and easy and relaxed, but you take it to them, and you take it to them with a more relaxed fashion. It's not, you know, you're not tight, thinking you've got to win the game, but you will win the game. Of course, it may not happen, but that's your attitude from team standpoint and individually.
And also, you beat an all-star today in Noah Syndergaard.
Darn right. That's no easy achievement.
Nope. Lagares with a high fly ball into center. Tommy Pham, plenty of room, and makes the catch. Some ballparks, that's adios. This ballpark, one away.
Early Wynn would love pitching in a park like this. Early Wynn threw high sliders and high fastballs. And I'll tell you, I mean, the opposite of Jaime Garcia, Bartolo Colon, that's why he's lasted so long. Terry Collins telling me that he has the knack for throwing that fastball up in the strike zone, fly balls, harmless fly balls to the center fielder.
As a catcher, would you call the game any differently, knowing the dimensions of this ballpark, depending, I guess, on the pitcher that you had?
Well, you wouldn't be afraid to call for a high fastball.
And that's what I mean.
No, you wouldn't. You know, no sense in fearing a pitch that, unless it's hit monumentally hard, is going to be out of the ballpark.
Sure.
Matter of fact, you know, it's a lot easier. Behind in the count, throw a predictable pitch to a hitter.
Here is Cabrera. 0-1 pitch, and that's pulled foul.
You know, pitch selection, Dan, you said that several times. I mean, what is the right pitch to throw? Well, nobody knows because it hasn't been thrown yet. You know, breaking balls behind in the count, it's really a matter of a pitcher and a catcher and a hitter, and what to throw the hitter. What are his propensities? What are the things that you think he's looking for? The foot movement.
And he did go. There's a strikeout of Cabrera. First of the night for Jaime Garcia.
With 2 strikes, will he go for the breaking ball in the dirt? Things like that. You're not always right because it's an inexact science.
So 2 outs, nobody on, and it brings in Yoenis Cespedes. In that 9th inning, he sent one to the track. But the play that was, I think, defined the game maybe is the play made at the track by Pham and his throw to second base.
The play that defined the game was the 26th out of the game for the Cardinals.
It's a great double play started by Tommy Pham. It went 8-4. And then the Mets were up with 2 outs and nobody on. O picked up the save. Martinez gets the win. Good work out of both bullpens. And here it is. Cespedes at the plate. Right in front of the track. Tommy Pham with a perfect throw to second. Catches Curtis Granderson, who can run, runs well. And a double play. Here's a 1-0. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A lot of fans see the throw. They don't see how the setup was, and his setup was perfect. Coming forward, Made the transfer from a glove to his throwing hand quickly and yet unhurriedly.
Yep. 1-1, positioned perfectly. The second baseman tonight, Colton Wong. Over to Jed Jerko. So 1-2-3 start for Jaime Garcia. No score. Homered in game one, followed by Pham, Grichuk, Wong, Rosario, and the pitcher Jaime Garcia. Jed with a 2-run mammoth shot off of Noah Syndergaard.
Jed could give Bartolo Colon fits tonight.
Just like that. Out to deep left field. Will it carry? 1-0 Cardinals. He's done it again. Back-to-back games and home runs for Jed Jerko.
And the reason I said that, Dan, is because he's the type of pitcher that he doesn't have, I mean, he can guess same speed fastball. And Jerko, when he gets the pitch that he's looking for, can hammer it, and he just did.
And he throws fastball after fastball, and as we've said, after the home run that he hit off of Syndergaard, we saw that Jerko, he saw one fastball after that. That was it.
Yeah. So he's seen 2 fastballs tonight. Both home runs.
Man, is this guy hot or what, though? 14 home runs. He's now driven in 32. I would say this, too. I would say it's a good matchup for Randal Grichuk.
Yeah, I would, too. Because there's no deceit in his pitches. That's kind of a little take a little off pitch right there. 86-mile-an-hour changeup. But his pitches are readable. That's the point.
16th home run that's been allowed by Colon as he picks up the strikeout. So Jed Jerko, game 1 of the doubleheader against Noah Syndergaard. A 2-run shot and a no-doubter. Now in game number 2 against Bartolo Colon, sneaking over the wall in left center. Jed Jerko, 7 home runs his last 9 games, and that's number 14 overall. Grichuk on the first pitch, pops it up. Darno, it's playable, no, out of play. Mets defensively here tonight. Around the horn presented by Dobbs in game 2. Cespedes, Lagares, Deaza. That trio in the outfield. Flores, Cabrera, Walker, and Loney on the infield, and Travis d'Arnaud is behind the plate. And the 0-1 pitch. Popped up again, out of play. 0-2. See Grichuk in his reaction. He wanted that pitch back.
Yeah, those two pitches, though, that first pitch and the second pitch, just a little bit out of his zone. Bring that ball down about 6 inches, he's going to hit it hard. Nobody has the carry off the bat with the Cardinals like Grichuk does.
The 0-2. And a fly ball into right. Diaz near the line. Out number 2. Well, Tim has been thinking long and hard about these keys to the game for game 2.
Well, now this is really tough. Well, Jed Jerko took this to heart. He remembered what he did in game 1. hit a home run. We came up with that before he hit the home run. So we're just geniuses.
Full disclosure, it was before the home run.
Full disclosure. Oh, gosh.
That's your Toyota key to the game. Here is Colt Wong. Well, I mean, I tried to get you something to eat between games. You said, leave me alone.
Yes.
Can't you see what I'm doing? I'm getting the keys to the game right now.
Exactly
Tim, I'm sorry.
Right. Took 10 or 12 minutes to come up with that.
Wong, a bouncer to second. There's Neil Walker. Well, home run by Jerko here in the top of the second. His 14th of the year. 1-0 St. Louis. Jed Jerko, 1-0 St. Louis. Let's check in with Jimmy.
Dan, that win in game 1 puts the brakes on a stretch where things hadn't really been going the Cards' way from travel to weather. Greg Garcia told me today the baseball gods were good to us, giving us that rain out last night. He said, I'm pretty sure everyone got caught up on their sleep. He said he turned in at about 10 o'clock. Mike Matheny was talking about the awful night of travel, late Sunday night, early Monday morning. The flight was delayed by a mechanical issue, then weather. The team rallied and arrived in New York just in time for rush hour. Mike said the best thing, maybe the only good thing, he didn't hear any of his guys, quote, barking or complaining, which he says would have been very easy to do. And Dan, the Cardinals turned things around and got themselves a win in that first game.
And thanks to Jed Jerko, they've got themselves a lead. He homered in both games of the doubleheader last week against
San Diego.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And now has done that here tonight against the Mets. Well, we talked about it, last night after we finished up our preparation and getting ready for game 1 of this series last night prior to it being rained out. And we said, look, the best thing that probably could happen to the Cardinals, this game gets rained out, so you go home, get a little rest, line up your pitching with another off day.
And that was right on the money, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was easy to see. I mean, these guys aren't going to complain. They know it's part of their jobs. But it's tough. What a grind. Sometimes you're on the better end of it. Sometimes it's a team you're playing that has the grind. But they were happy to see that rain last night.
Oh, man. That's hit down the left field line. And it's pulled foul. 2-2 on Wilmer Flores. We talked about Flores in game 1. He was a pinch hitter. 7 home runs and now 46 at bats this month. Ron Swoboda had 5 home runs and 29 at bats in July of 1970. And that's been the best home run rate of any Met in July. And now Flores is second. Ron Swoboda.
I remember him well, and I'll tell you why.
Uh-oh.
After this pitch. Not the catch that he made in the 1969 World Series against Baltimore. Not that.
Little flare out to shallow center, and Pham won't get this one.
But on September 15th, 1969, Steve Carlton struck out 19 Mets. And the 2 hits that hurt him the most, he lost the game 4-3. Ron Swoboda hit 2 two-run home runs that I swear, Dan, one a slider, one a fastball, in off the plate, exactly where we were trying to pitch him. We talked about pitch selection last inning. And it was Ron Swoboda with 2 two-run home runs, and they beat Steve as he became the first pitcher to ever strike out 19 batters on September 15th, 1969, in a Cardinal uniform.
And lost.
And lost the ball game.
Wow.
Ron Swoboda.
Rick Horton, who's working on the radio side, grew up in this area not too far away, and he said, Ron Swoboda, that's my man. That's his favorite player. Not Tom Seaver, not all the greats the Mets, Ron Swoboda. That explains Ricky. That's pulled foul.
Ron Swoboda could play. He was a tough out. He wasn't pretty as he played. Not a good outfielder, but always scrambled like a scrambling golfer, like Ray Floyd was when he was younger. Scrambled to make it, and made a name because of that.
1 ball, 1 strike on Neil Walker, the former Pirate, a free agent to be. Part of the Jonathan Neese deal. Neese now working out of the bullpen for the Pirates. Beautiful night there in Queens. Here's a 1-2. Kept in front by Rosario.
Good play by Rosario.
Tim, you haven't had the chance to see him in person.
I have not.
This guy can play defense.
Yeah. I mean, that's a Spalding guy. That's Mike Matheny perfect going down on that ball in the dirt. Keep in mind that it's much easier for a catcher to read a breaking ball in the dirt than it is a fastball. Because the breaking ball, you're going down with it. You're anticipating the ball being in the dirt. Fastballs are a lot tougher.
A 2-2 pitch to Walker. Ooh, just missed. Neil said it was very bittersweet for him. Gets a new start with the Mets, free agent to be. He has said that he is going to test the waters of free agency, but grew up a fan of Pittsburgh because he grew up in Pittsburgh. So very bittersweet for him to leave his hometown team.
Well, I'll tell you, the managers are becoming so cautious.
Why isn't he running?
Sending the runners. I mean, you're going to get a ground ball probably from Garcia. You might get a pop-up or a line drive or something like that, but it would be unusual to get that because he throws so many ground balls. Why not stay out of a double play by sending Flores?
There he goes, and there's your ground ball. Jerko steps on the bag at first, and there's one away. Krispy Kreme dozen deal. Cardinals get 9 hits tonight. You're invited into Krispy Kreme tomorrow. receive a dozen of their original glazed donuts for only $3.99. Krispy Kreme.
I tell you, the game's too cautious now, Dan, as far as I'm concerned. The base running is horribly cautious all over the place. Baseball's become a game of strikeouts and home runs.
I agree.
And that's not for the betterment of the sport.
You want movement. You want action.
Mm-hmm.
Here's James Loney.
Animation.
Well, you think about it, too. The commissioner recently was talking about this on a radio interview, but he said the game has gotten so specialized in the back end of bullpens that you get to the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, you just don't see scoring because lefty-lefty matchups.
Yeah.
Guys are coming in throwing mid-90s. I mean, think about it. If you're a pitcher that's throwing 85 to 88 and you can pitch, you probably won't be seen because if you don't break 91, 92, you're not going to get a look.
Right. Right.
More time. I mean, that's not every case, but more times than not, that seems to be the case.
First game, an example. After the 4th inning, no runs scored by either team.
Ron Swoboda, by the way, is broadcasting for the New Orleans Zephyrs, which is the Marlins AAA affiliate. 1-2 the count.
1969 Miracle Mets, after only 7 years in existence, winning a world championship. This town went bananas.
They had never finished higher than 2nd prior to that year. 1962, a record that may never be matched, 40-120.
40 wins, 120 losses, and Casey Stengel, Richie Ashburn, was the most valuable player of that team, and Richie used to say that Casey held a meeting after the 160th game of the year and said, boys, this was a team effort. You guys were terrible.
You had to work at getting just 40 wins.
Yeah.
That's great.
The season ended on a triple play.
That summed it up.
That
right.
summed up everything. They gave Ashburn, as being the MVP, a boat to take to his hometown of Tilden, Nebraska. He got it in the water and it sunk.
Right.
It sunk.
3-2 pitch. Struck him out. So Garcia gets strikeout number 2. Loney didn't like that call.
Yeah, you know the line. If it's good framing. I don't like that term, but Rosario held the ball. Loney thought it was outside. Looked like a good pitch.
Brings in Travis d'Arnaud.
Never let a pitcher get you out away with 2 strikes. We talked about Joe Torre. That was his line, and boy, was he ever right. I mean, and that comment speaks volumes. 1971 MVP for the Redbirds, hitting .363 that year. 230 hits and very few infield hits.
That's
a good
amazing.
run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the Mets had to be creative with a limited payroll. We saw what they did with the R.A. Dickey deal. Cy Young in 2012. He won 20 games. Then they send him to Toronto. They get Noah Syndergaard. And you look at a guy like d'Arnaud comes along as well. So they were able to use that deal. R.A. Dickey signed to a minor league contract. Goes out, wins the Cy Young Award, and then flip that to get some good pitching and good players.
How many times does that happen? A Cy Young Award winner traded that winter.
And Toronto has an interesting offseason for themselves coming up. Encarnacion, Bautista, both free agents to be. 2 balls and 1 strike.
My guess would be that Bautista and Encarnacion, that both of them, if they go to different teams, they will not be as effective as they were in Toronto. That's just my feeling. I can't answer why. You're going why like I'm some sort of novice. I know, but I can't answer it. I just believe that.
I want the truth, and I can't handle the truth.
I can't handle the truth.
You can't.
No, I can't. I can't handle a truthful question. No, I feel that way. I think they've become so accustomed to playing in a dome, one of the few domes in baseball. Seattle's that way, I guess, when it rains out there, right?
Beloved by their fans too. I mean, those are two of the most popular fans in recent, or players in recent memory by the Jays.
Yeah, and maybe they signed for less money in order to stay there. Who knows? It's not done too often this day and age, but
I remember when Bautista was with the Pirates and Encarnacion was with the Reds.
Oh yeah, not nearly the players that they are now.
3-2 the count here on Travis d'Arnaud. Runner at second base. And a fly ball into shallow right. Backing up Colton Wong, and he makes the catch. So the Mets strand a runner. They pick up a base hit by Flores. It's 1-0 after 2. Brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. Well, it's been an interesting week or so for the Cardinals. A couple of doubleheaders, 16-inning game. You know, some lengthy nights at the ballpark.
Time at the yard. Sleep in November.
You got it. Alberto Rosario.
Play 162 game schedule in 181 days. And almost all of those 19 days are for travel. Almost all.
Cardinals next off day will be on the road. As Rosario sends that foul. There has been talk of reducing the schedule back to 154 games, which I don't think they'll do for a number of reasons. Number one being cash.
Money. Right.
0-2 pitch. Also, baseball built on the numbers of 162 game schedule primarily. Now there are records that are at 154, but you know where I'm going with this.
Right. Right.
And you brought up something interesting in the first game, which is the way to do it. If you want to do 162 games, keep the schedule, but build in more off days, you'd have to have doubleheaders built in. which then would give you 1 day off a week. The 2-2. Rosario base hit. That's into right center. Making the turnaround first. The throw by Diaza. Not in time. Alberto Rosario, his first double in the major leagues.
First extra base hit to lead off the 3rd inning. One thing I've noticed about Rosario, he runs pretty well. The Cardinals had a guy, Tony Cruz, last year and years prior to last year who ran pretty well.
Cruz probably didn't get enough credit for being able to play multiple positions.
I agree with that, Dan.
Now, when Mike Matheny took over, they used him primarily as solely a backup catcher. Tony La Russa, though, would use him around the infield.
3rd base.
Yep.
Yep.
Here's Garcia trying to bunt, and there's strike 1. So you have a left-handed throwing first baseman, which makes this a even more interesting play in terms of where you want to bunt it, how you bunt it. Can you get the lead man?
No, you got to bunt the ball down the 3rd baseline. The Mets, the very fact that Cabrera is so close to the runner at 2nd base, there's no way he's going to 3rd. So make the 3rd baseman field the ball.
Garcia squares to bunt. 0-1 pitch. Tails back in for a strike. That pitch right there reminds me of Greg Maddux against a left-handed batter. How many lefties gave up the pitch that starts at their knee or their hip, then tailed back in for a strike?
It's also right down the pipe, and you got both eyes on it, not one.
Bunted foul. So a strikeout in the books. First time through the lineup. 4 strikeouts for Colon.
And not a good job by Garcia.
MLB.TV Premium, #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in high definition on over 400 supported devices. That also includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium. MLB.TV for details. There's Greg Garcia, runner at 2nd base. But clearly the idea has been to pitch Garcia in. Syndergaard did that a couple of times. Got 2 punch outs his first 2 times up in game 1. Then Garcia was able to walk in also a single.
It's a valid point, Dan. And the thing is, I mean, after seeing Greg Garcia, he can handle the ball inside. He's got pop on that pitch.
Here's a 1-1.
Hitters change also. If major league pitchers throw hitters the same way and try to get him out the same way, you better change, because if you don't, they'll blow you out of a league. If, for instance, they're getting you out inside, you better learn to handle that inside pitch, because if you don't, they'll keep burying you with inside fastballs.
The Cardinals' first ever interleague game was June 14th, 1997. You say, what's the big deal? 8-3, Cleveland won. The big deal is that the big guy on the mound was pitching in that game. Bartolo Colon.
There's another inside fastball.
At that time, he was 24. That was 19 years, 1 month ago. Mentioned he's 42. He's actually 43 now. 4-time All-Star. Two balls, 2 strikes.
See, when you're conscious in pitching a guy inside, that's what you could do, is just go away from him, and he's surprised, as Garcia was on that fastball away.
The fastball velocity of Noah Syndergaard averages 98.1. Cologne 87.8.
Big difference, huh?
Yeah, I'd say so. The 2-2 pitch to Garcia. And a fly ball lifted out to center. That's pretty well hit. Going back, Lagares. And he makes the catch. He was playing very shallow. Rosario tagging up from second to third.
Remember, with Rosario on at third base, be mindful of the fact that Cologne has not thrown a wild pitch in 2.5 years. I mean, that's remarkable in itself.
You know, you would think
he does not throw the ball in the dirt.
You would think too there'd be a cross up or something would happen, and
somewhere along the line.
Official score would give him a wild pitch.
Yeah.
Here's a lead miss Diaz. Fly to center, first time up. Well, the big out in this inning was Garcia and his inability to get the bunt down.
Yep. Part of your job as a pitcher in the National League is to make sure you're a good bunter.
Two outs, runner at third. The All-Star shortstop against the All-Star Cologne on the mound. 1 ball, 1 strike as he just got a piece. So the Cardinals win game 1 by the score of 3-2. It's an error by Syndergaard that led to a run. Then Jerko 2-run homer. It was 3-0 Cardinals. Rene Rivera a home run off of Carlos Martinez, who lasted 5 and picks up the win. That home run was a 2-run shot, and that would be all the scoring in game 1 of the doubleheader. Here's a 1-1 pitch from Cologne. The thing is too, though, Tim, it's not just the velocity, but here's a guy that changes the eye level for a hitter. He cuts the ball, he spots the ball. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Two-seam fastball, runs the fastball, but still, for the most part, throwing 1 pitch. Little off of the fastball occasionally. No breaking ball. None.
The 1-2. Hit out to center. And the Cardinals waste the double by Rosario. They strand a man. First runner left on by St. Louis. The Jerko home run, the difference so far. Games on television. You can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Cardinals wherever you go. Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin here in the booth. Jim Hayes somewhere around Citi Field, maybe taking a nap. I wouldn't blame him. Alejandro Diaza. You know, we have a very nice ballpark village in St. Louis, and you were out at Ballpark Village just beyond the walls here at Citi Field.
Not quite, Danny boy. Talking about the junkyards across the street.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah. Well,
it's slicing towards left, and that ball will get down past Holiday and all the way to the wall. Diaza will stop at second base. Leadoff double. We're trying to find out the latest forms of a carburetor. Hey, we flash back one of the fun moments this season for the Mets and all of Major League Baseball. Bartolo Colon. Home run back on May 7th in San Diego. James Shields on the mound. Gary Cohen said the impossible has just happened.
swing hard in case you hit it.
He had 225 at bats before that home run.
He does have a couple of sacrifices. Not a bad hitter, or not a bad. Well, never mind. Forget it.
I can't wait to hear you in the 8th inning tonight.
Well, he won't be in there.
No.
No chance.
5'11", 285-pound Bartolo Colon. People love to watch this. His at-bats are must-see TV. As he stabs at that pitch.
Well,
One ball, one strike.
Yeah, that stab made him appear scared to death of the ball. And you know what? He is. He's scared to death of the ball. That's why his home run was announced by Gary as the impossible has happened, because it did.
Squares to bunt again, and it's taken low, 2-1. I mean, even listen to this crowd. They know it's a bunting situation, and they get into it when Colon's at the plate.
Oh, yeah. Well, the one thing you just cannot do is walking here. Garcia behind in the count. You have got to throw a strike to Colon.
He had pulled back to maybe swing and looks at a strike. He's 43 and says he has no intentions to retire. The 2-2 pitch. And he struck him out. 3 strikeouts for Jaime Garcia. Juan Lagares. Fly to center his first time up. Garcia, first time through the lineup, gave up a couple of hits, struck out 3, did not walk a man. Ball 1.
It is good policy for pitchers to pitch hitters inside so they can't extend their arms. Now, Colon not a good hitter, but you get the idea. You know, we talked about Colon, no wild pitches in 2.5 years. That is not the case with Garcia. He is very difficult to catch.
Did you have a guy that you caught that was hard to catch because
Mike Torres.
Great movement?
Mike Torres. The last guy that Branch Rickey signed.
That's right.
Was Mike Torres.
Fastball and a strike.
I called for a fastball from Mike at Wrigley Field one cold, blustery day in early April. He came in as a long man. Red had brought him in the game. And he hit me on the forearm with a pitch.
Really?
I never laid leather on it. I wasn't even close. Thought he broke my arm, honestly.
1-1 pitch. Hit out of play.
But of course you hang in there because they're one-year contracts.
Yes, sir.
The only way you were coming out of the game is if it were broken. And then, I don't know if I've told you this, in 1970, I broke my right hand with 1 out. Willie Mays was the batter. A guy named Lowell Palmer was pitching. Broke my right hand. 1 out later, Mike Ryan, my replacement, broke his left hand.
You did tell me that.
Two
so
catchers.
So who was left in?
The first and second string catchers were both knocked out in 1 inning.
So who
one
comes
out
in?
apart.
Who's the emergency?
A guy named Jim Hutto, which is never caught before, and he was the catcher. But then they called up the minor league catcher from AAA ball. The next, a guy named Mike Campbell. But you talk about unbelievable.
1-2 pitch. Kept in front by Rosario.
Good play right there. Tough play for Antonio. Or Alberto, I beg your pardon.
My understanding is that Greg Garcia would be the emergency catcher for the Cardinals.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. There's that pitcher you talked about. That's so tough. Breaking ball with the spin. Not sure where it may go.
Right.
2-2 the count.
Yeah, the thing with Jaime, even his fastball is tough to handle. So much movement he gets from it.
Runner at second is Diaz. Good speed. Ground ball that's hit to second. Colton Wong is there. And there's 2 outs. So both teams have had a scenario in which they've had leadoff doubles. Then the pitcher comes up, can't get a bunt down, and it may cost both teams here in the 3rd inning. Asdrubal Cabrera struck out back in the 1st. The Cardinals with that Game 1 win. St. Louis now 28-16 on the road. Last year 55 wins at home. They've already matched their loss total the entire season a year ago at home. Breaking ball and a strike. Two outs, runner at third. I could handle these doubleheaders. I like them.
Not bad.
Nope. Little 2-for-1 action.
Absolutely. Double down. Double down, baby.
That's well hit. Out to left. Holiday going back. He'll look up, and it's off the base of the wall. The game is tied on a 2-out double by Cabrera as he drives in his 32nd run of this 2016 campaign.
I mean, it was a double, but I don't think a double by the first base coach deserves a hug around the neck. I mean, to me, maybe a high five or something, but no hug around the neck. That was Tom Goodwin, the first base coach. That's when an RBI double is a little more precious than it was meant to be.
Well, I think the reason why Cabrera had 32 at-bats, a hitless streak with runners in scoring position, the longest in one season by a major leaguer since 2011. So he finally drives somebody in. I'll
talk to Tom about that tomorrow.
Coy Hill was over 34 back in 2011. Cespedes with a high fly ball into right. Randall Grichuk under it, makes the catch. 2-out double by Cabrera. Scoring Diaza. We're tied 1-1. Top of the fourth. And let's take a look at Arcia in the driver's seat. Team ERA for the Mets the last 6 seasons. I mean, you are one popular guy when we come back here to Citi Field. We're right in, right where the fans can see us and they can say hello. And
I worked here for a long time, so
they deliver such pleasantries to you.
Some unpleasantries too that we can't repeat on a civilized broadcast. Breaking ball, first breaking ball of the game thrown by Colon. Show me curveball.
1 ball, 1 strike on Holiday. Struck out first time up, takes a pitch high and outside. There it is again.
Yeah, little slider, little wrinkle. Second time through the order. He's a cagey guy, I'll tell you.
2-2 the count on Holiday. Breaking ball lifted in the air. Center field. Well hit. Lagares, though, plenty of room. On the track to make the catch. Jed Jerko, what kind of day has he had? Well, a couple of home runs. That was in game 1 off of Noah Syndergaard, a 2-run shot that made it 3-0 Cardinals. They held on 3-2, and in this ball game, home run over the wall and left. So within the last week, all 4 games of the doubleheaders, he is homered. Jed now with 14 home runs. He's driven in 32 in limited time. And you go back to the beginning of the season, what the Cardinals were trying to do with their bench and adding Jerko, the trade of John Jay, was they felt they didn't have thump, pop coming off the bench, a threat. Well, Jerko's done that and then some. The 1-1. 1-2. Power stats brought to you by Kubota. Schimpf, Story, then Jerko. Most home runs here in July. Wilmer Flores with 7. Justin Turner of the Mets, formerly of the Mets, now of the Dodgers, as Jerko hits a high fly ball into deep right. And Diaza, plenty of room.
Just got under it.
2 down.
That's how Cologne wins in this ballpark, however. 6 fly ball outs and 4 strikeouts.
Hey, you put him in Cincinnati, he's getting destroyed.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't pitch there.
Nope.
Couldn't pitch in Philadelphia. Couldn't pitch at Wrigley Field.
Here's Tommy Pham with 2 outs.
Said 1 ground ball out in 3 2/3 innings.
After the double by Rosario in the 3rd, it's been 5 in a row set down by Cologne.
Tell you, Tommy Pham could turn a fastball around too.
The 1-1 pitch. Hit out of play. And Pham with the play of the game in the first of our 2 here at Citi Field. Great play defensively in the 9th. Turned it into a double play with Granderson trying to tag up from first to second. The 1-2 pitch. Outside. Even when Cologne misses, that's the first one that's almost been like a waste pitch. I mean, everything is there to bait the hitter on the corners.
In and out.
Yep.
In and out. He uses all 17 inches of the plate on which to throw. He actually expands the plate.
The 2-2.
Like that.
5 strikeouts for Bartolo Colon. Midway through 4 from Citi Field. 1-1. Let's check in with Jim Hayes, who has more on Jed Jerko.
Yeah, Jed has 7 homers over his last 9 games. He's homered in both ends of a doubleheader twice in that stretch. Actually hit 3 homers in the twin bill with San Diego. Mike Matheny described Jerko like this after the first game today, quote, "He's amazing. I don't think people realize how good of a player he is." Game 1, he jumps on a 98-mile-an-hour pitch from Syndergaard. Here in the second inning of this game, Jed jumps on an 84-mile-an-hour pitch by Colon. Dan, one thing's clear. Jed doesn't discriminate.
The babe. He's wearing number 3.
Yeah. And performed like him over the last 8 days.
It's been fun to watch.
Yeah.
Wilmer Flores at the plate. Lines it into right center field. Extra bases. That will go all the way to the wall. And Flores a leadoff double to start play here in the home half of the fourth. He's 2 for 2. Look at the location on this pitch. Our Chevy Foxtrots.
Outside part of the plate. And Flores not trying to do too much with it. You try to pull that ball, you hit it to the shortstop. It's a 6-3. He went with it. He ends up with the double.
A lot of Cardinal fans here in New York. Cardinal fans everywhere, though.
Oh, absolutely. What a name brand.
Here's Neil Walker, the switch hitter. Walker with a fly ball into right, and the catch made. No. In and out of the glove of Randal Grichuk. It'll be an error on Grichuk, his first of the season, and Flores advances to third.
I have no idea, but I guess he lost the ball in the lights. Other than that, I mean,
I think he tried to hurry it, thinking that he was making the catch and then quickly making the transfer,
yeah,
but didn't make the catch.
I mean, you're a big league outfielder. You make the catch and then make the transfer. I mean, that ball hit him right in the pocket. That ball's got to be caught.
Runners at the corners.
Instead of a man at second, 1 out. First and third, no outs.
There's James Loney, who struck out his first time up. The Mets have been awful in these spots. Coming into this doubleheader, runners in scoring position. It's worth repeating. As a team, hitting .210. And so far today, they are 1 for 10. Double play ball. Run will score. 4-6-3 double play. No RBI for Loney, and it brings in d'Arnaud with 2 outs, and now the Mets with their first lead, 2-1.
First lead of the doubleheader, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a ball taken by d'Arnaud.
Keith Hernandez in our first game in for a half an inning, and yesterday I had a long chat with him about d'Arnaud in particular, talking about how he wraps the bat. He almost holds the bat like a left-handed hitter, like a Darryl Strawberry type. The difference is he's not a strong man. You could do that if you're very strong and can overcome hitting the ball back in the plate as opposed to out in front. You have so far to go, though. You can't catch up to a fastball.
It seems like you'd get loopy with that, too.
Yeah, right. A lot of pop flies, things like that. See, there's no way for him to take the bat, holding it, pointing it toward the pitcher, and then bringing it all around and hitting a fastball, a major league fastball, out in front, which is what hitters have to do if they're going to be successful.
Look at the barrel, nearly, basically pointed to Garcia. That's back to Jaime, knocks it down, and he makes the play. Well, the double and a costly error. Terry Collins and the Mets 2-1 lead. calling and seeing some history.
I think you're going to call it, pal. It's only appropriate.
Ichiro with hit number 3,000 maybe. We got 4 games with the Marlins. 3 of the 4 will be right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Only 29 have done it. 3,000 hits. Here's Randall Grichuk.
That's to go along with his almost 1,300 hits he had in Japan before he got here.
So you're telling me the guy can hit? He can hit.
He can hit in any language.
0-2 pitch. Strikeout of Grichuk. He's 0 for 2. 30,000 fans on August 6th, 16 and older, take home a bobblehead unlike any other. This throwback Cardinal bird bobblehead presented by AT&T, created with the memorabilia collectors in mind. And Tim will have that displayed on his mantle. That's at cardinals.com/promotions. You were telling me before the season you could not wait for that particular giveaway. Wong with a fly ball into center. 2 outs.
I find that I'm saying a lot of things that I don't remember.
Maybe I got you confused.
Yeah,
with somebody else.
You could. Ricky or Jim or Al or me. You have a 1 in 4 chance.
Boy, some great choices for me.
I'm sure you love it.
I do. Here's Rosario. It looks at a strike. So 2 outs. Nobody on. No balls and a strike on Rosario, who doubled to lead off the 3rd, then left stranded. 0-2. Well, this is what good pitchers do. They get a lead and all of a sudden they're pumping strikes.
Two
inning.
base runners for the Cardinals tonight. The home run by Jerko, and then Rosario with a double in the 3rd.
Struck him out.
Got me.
2 in the inning, 7 in the game, 3 of the last 4 strikeouts. Job Major League Baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Tillman, Salazar, Hendricks all going tonight. Let's a look at their updated games. Look at Kyle Hendricks, .68 ERA for the Cubs in his last 5 starts. And speaking of starters, Rangers announced today they've designated veteran right-hander former Cardinal Kyle Lohse for assignment. Lohse now 37. Gave up 13 runs on 15 hits in 9 1/3 in 2 starts against the Twins and Angels. He's enjoyed a very good career. Alejandro Diaz. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Diaz, Colon, and Lagares. First pitch taken for a ball. Diaz doubled back in the 3rd and scored on the 2-out double by Asdrubal Cabrera. 1-0 pitch, and he is hit by the pitch. So the leadoff man aboard for the Mets with good speed in Diaz, and now you're asking Colon to potentially bunt here again, which he couldn't do the previous time.
Well, if you remember, the only 2 runs scored by the Mets in Game 1 started off with Asdrubal Cabrera being hit by a pitch on his back foot. He eventually scored on the 2-run home run hit by Rivera. I think you pinch him and dare him. And Greg Garcia is thinking the same way. He is way in at 3rd base. But just dare him to bunt a ball out there. He only has 2 sacrifices all year. Maybe if you play in enough, you force him to swing the bat, and that's what you want him to do.
He's charging hard. Rosario gets Colon. Sacrifice, advancing Diaz to second base, and a nice round of applause here at Citi Field.
They cheer anything he does offensively. It's almost like pitching doesn't count. Just let's see your at bats.
Pay to watch him hit.
Yeah. Good bunt.
So Diaz in scoring position. 2-1 Mets. Here in the bottom of the inning 5. And the top of the lineup, Lagares, who is fly to center and also grounded out to second. That's tapped foul. Cardinals have gotten another home run from Jed Jerko here in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Last player to hit home runs in both games of consecutive doubleheaders, Bobby Bonilla, when he was with the Pirates back in 1990.
Wow.
The Mets still paying Bobby Bonilla a handsome sum of money.
$1 million a year through 2035.
Up the middle, diving stop. Diaz throw to first and got him.
Oh, they'll review this one. It's going to be close. About 40,000 Met umpires here in the stands.
Regardless, out or safe, that does save a run.
Very good play by Diaz. By the time he got to his feet and got his feet under him, the throw was a strong throw, but I think Lagares beat it. Looked like he was safe.
But just show the replay here to the folks at Citi Field. Their reaction, safe. Our reaction, safe. Shouldn't take long to reverse this call.
One of the easiest challenges all year that we've seen.
Infield hit for Lagares. He's now 1 for 3.
But still a good play by Diaz, and as you said, Dan, that keeps the runner from third from scoring. Otherwise, it's a base hit. Now a double play gets Garcia out of the inning.
We mentioned that Cabrera came into this doubleheader 32 at-bats, hitless streak with runners in scoring position. That was until his 2-out double back in the third. Now Garcia's looking for the double play. Mets on the year 207 after game 1, 1-4-9. Runners in scoring position. First pitch is strike.
Old Bugaboo, the hit batsman, scored in game 1. And Diaza leading off this inning, being hit by a pitch. He's at third with 1 out.
Here's the 0-1. Pulled foul. No balls and 2 strikes. Pitch count at an even 70 for Jaime Garcia. Jaime has struck out 3. Has hit a man, has not walked a man. The 0-2. Cardinals, in terms of their bullpen, in good shape. Always a concern going into a doubleheader, as much as the bullpen has thrown 2 here recently. But they did have the rain out last night. Tyler Lyons 2 scoreless innings in game 1. Kevin Segrist and then Seung-Hwan Oh. There's a fly ball out to left. Holiday with the catch, backing up. Runner from third will tag up and score. That's Diaza. Scores his 2nd run of the game, and that makes it 3-1 Mets.
That's a situation where Lagares at first base has got to tag up too. Matt Holliday catching the ball going back, one-handing it. Lagares can float into second base easily.
Little things.
Base running, we talked about it in game 1, but it's a vital part of the game that has major league players today en masse do not know how to run the bases properly.
Ichiro is single now in the 8th inning against the Phillies, 3 away from 3,000. Here's Cespedes, 2 outs, runner at first. He is fly to right, rounded out to second. Two and 0. Cespedes plays golf just about every day. Something that he does to keep his mind off the game of baseball. He actually took a lot of heat last year in the League Championship Series for playing golf in Chicago day of a game. And he said, well, what's the big deal? I do this every day for 6 months.
I remember there was really a problem with the New York press. Had it with him, and I'm not too sure that most of the guys writing the stories knew that he played as much as he did.
Says he tries to play every day. Two and 1 the count. 2 and 2.
Well, you've seen me play, and I play so poorly that would keep my mind off of baseball if I played golf before a game.
Have you played since we played last?
No.
We were in Arizona when we played.
No. I'm terrible.
You're not terrible. And you're not awful. And that's all there is to it.
Leave me alone in my squalor, will you?
Strikeout of Cespedes as he chased a ball.
Boy, that was really chasing a ball right there.
4 strikeouts for Garcia. Go. Runners night at the ballpark presented by New Balance. Wednesday, August 10th. Fans who purchase the special theme ticket receive an exclusive Cardinals Runners technical t-shirt. So get your Runners night tickets today. Cardinals.com/theme. Cardinals finish up this road trip. We head back to St. Louis. It's August. Man, it is flying. August, September, a couple of games in October. We'll see if the Cardinals will be in postseason play. Tony La Russa always used to say your record is who you are. He believes that it all comes out in the wash in Major League Baseball. 10 games above 500, that's who you are. 10 below, that's who you are. This many games, this much competition, he's pretty much right on the mark.
Well, the fingerprint and the handprint for the Cardinals thus far this year has been careless play defensively. It's more than errors. It's careless. It's carelessness. It's not youth. It's not really ability. I mean, Randall Grichuk has messed up 3 balls hit to him in the last 6 games. That ball in San Diego.
Broken back ground ball that's hit to second. Neil Walker puts away Hazelbaker.
I should say against San Diego. But those are careless errors, and different if a guy scorches a ball and it's tough play, what have you. But the one thing you want to get away from is careless errors, and the Cardinals haven't done that thus far.
We'll see Matt Bowman pitching into the 6th inning, bottom half, as that closes the book on Garcia. Top of the lineup, Greg Garcia. And then we'll see Aledmys Diaz. Bartolo Colon has struck out 7 and allowed just 2 hits.
2 base runners, no walks.
Well, you do have the extra pitcher in Sam Tuivailala. As we mentioned, the club feels protected going into game 2. Jaime Garcia only 77 pitches tonight and lifted in this game. Oh, 0-2 the count on Garcia.
Notice how many 0-2 counts have been against the Cardinals. Last inning, both Rosario and Grichuk taking all 3 pitches up each time. 3 by Grichuk, 3 by Rosario. You mentioned the summer going quickly. I remember the words to Joe Raposo's song, "The Haunting." There used to be a ballpark. The last two lines were, "And the summer went so quickly that year. And there used to be a ballpark right here." It's written about Ebbets Field. Joe told me that he was crying crocodile tears as he wrote the song. Close pitch to Garcia.
Chevy Fox tracks.
Excuse me, Dan. That's that pitch inside that Colon didn't get. Not quite.
Two hit off the end of the bat. Will it get down? It will. Base hit. Greg Garcia. Tying run will come to the plate. Friday, August 5th. That's when we come back home. 30,000 fans ages 16 and older take home a Cardinals fedora courtesy of the Shane Company. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Maybe a good example of Cespedes not running well. That ball into shallow left.
Yeah, valid point. That bad right quad, and see if Aledmys Diaz makes the Mets pay. Bloop and a blast could tie it for the Cardinals.
Diaz 0 for 2. Fly to center, also lined out. That had been 10 straight set down by Colon. Ebbets Field, home of the Brooklyn Dodgers.
And the summer went so quickly that year, and there used to be a ballpark right here.
Inside.
Among the other songs Joe Raposo composed, the theme from Sesame Street.
Really?
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
One-0 pitch to Diaz. Foul ball. What I found fascinating, and you're talking about some of the history here, but Ichiro 3 away from 3,000. With every guy that he passes, he knows just a little tidbit that's not known by a lot.
From his trips to Cooperstown, he's
Right.
been there 6 times.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it really is. Such respect.
Hit sharply to third, double play ball. Out at second, turned by Walker, double play. 5-4-3 on the double play. Grab Cardinals seats, home or road. Get the StubHub app. Not only will you find the seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. This is the former Met, at least in the minor leagues, Matt Bowman, Rule 5 pickup for the Cardinals. Not very good numbers as a starter pitching in Las Vegas, their AAA affiliate. Cardinals threw that out the window and said, we like what we see with this sinker, and it's been a good find.
Boy, I'll tell you, Dan, kudos to the scouting department of the Cardinals, because usually a guy with a 7-16 record in AAA ball will never get a shot the next year in the major leagues. But Bowman has, and he has responded beautifully.
Ground ball pulled foul. Wilmer Flores at the plate. So 34 appearances now. ERA just over 3. It would be much better, the exception of one bad game, which he gave up something like 5 runs and inning in a third.
Yeah.
Jim had a nice conversation with Matt yesterday on the pregame show. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's a little delay in his delivery that he's picked up. Last couple of outings, mixing things up a bit.
So only 77 pitches tonight for the starter. Jaime Garcia leaves trailing 3-1. Talking with Matt about a month ago about this delivery, which he said watching Tim Lincecum made him try this delivery. Now, it's not Tim Lincecum in terms of
stuff,
right, or how far he stretches towards the plate. However, it is a somewhat similar delivery. Base hit by Flores, and the leadoff man is aboard. And Flores, a 3-hit night, 3 for 3. Brings in Neil Walker.
I think everybody in baseball, connected with baseball, knows the story of Neil. His father, Tom, played with Roberto Clemente in winter ball in Ponce, I believe. I think Clemente owned the team. And the night that Clemente took off in that ill-fated flight from San Juan to Managua, Nicaragua, back in 1971, December of 71, Tom Walker wanted to go with him. He didn't think he had enough guys. And Tom, Neil's father, said, I'll be happy to go with you to unload things in Managua and then get on the plane and come back. And Roberto said, nope, you enjoy your family. This was, I think, New Year's Eve.
Right.
Enjoy your family. And about an hour out of San Juan, the plane crashed. And, of course, Roberto Clemente, the great Clemente, died along with the crew of the plane. And Neil Walker will tell you, you know, Clemente saved my life because I wouldn't have been born had it not for him insisting that my father not go with him.
Pretty amazing.
It really is. Just a staggering story. I had the fortune of playing with Tom back in 1972 with Montreal. And just a dear guy, but you had no idea. I didn't have any idea about the Clemente saga after that. About 6 months after that.
I've talked to Neil about it, and that's exactly what he says. As great as Roberto Clemente was, he saved my life. If my dad goes, I'm not born.
Right.
3-2 with the runner at first. See if Bowman can't get that ground ball double play. Flores, your runner at first. He's running, and the pitch is taken for a ball. So the first 2 have reached. So Bowman has allowed the base hit to right field. Free pass to Walker. And now James Loney. Grounded into a 4-6-3 double play that did allow a run to score, though. That was Flores back in the 4th. And with that, Kiekefer, the lefty, just called up after Rosenthal was put on the DL, starts to throw. Nobody out, 2 on. One ball, one strike. The other thing about Bowman is that he throws, you know, you'll see him hit occasionally 95 on the gun. But he's consistently,
which is a lot with his sinker.
And he's consistently at 92, 93. There's 93 right there.
Now, when you talk about Bowman, though, you're still talking about movement and not velocity. Because his sinker is what gets the ground balls. That's what he's looking for right now.
Throw down to second and right into the glove of Colton Wong. Cardinals catch a break.
That brings up the point, Dan. I mean, you know, everybody talks about velocity, and we have sponsored things talking about velocity. Velocity isn't even close to what it takes to get guys out, unless you throw 99, 100 miles an hour like Aroldis Chapman or Syndergaard or somebody like that.
Movement, location.
Movement, location, staying ahead, changing speeds like that was. Good changeup from Bowman. But velocity is one of the most overrated things for a pitcher. And yet that's what scouts look for. They look for power arms, but unfortunately they can't find power bats.
The Cardinals feel that that last pitch could really make him even more effective. They love the sinker, but you see the arms and the legs and how he reaches out towards the hitter. And all of a sudden,
very effective pitch.
Yeah, you pull the string, you got to change up, and all of a sudden another pitch to think about. Here's d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud has caught Bowman a handful of times in the minor leagues.
Last year in Las Vegas.
I would think that Matt's a little amped up for this appearance here tonight.
Usually the advantage goes to the catcher. When a catcher catches a pitcher or hits against a pitcher that he used to face, generally speaking. That doesn't mean that he's going to hit the ball, get a base hit, but the chances of him putting the good part of the bat on the ball is a lot better than had he not caught that particular pitcher.
Look at your Hyundai pitch arsenal and the 1-1. Outfield is straight away. Cardinals trailing 3-1 in this game. 2 balls, 1 strike. d'Arnaud is popped out and also grounded out. It's a night game tomorrow. Then we head to Miami. First of 4 against the Marlins beginning on Thursday. The 3-1 pitch. Out to deep right. Going back, Richick. And he makes the catch. Runner at second, not tagging up. That's Flores. And there's 2 down.
Good play by Randall Grichuk. Went back immediately on that ball hit by d'Arnaud. That ball didn't have a lot of hang time. Tough for a runner between second and third on that play, especially with 1 out. With nobody out, you got to tag and go to third. But with 1 out, you can understand how the batter's more than halfway ready to score had the ball dropped.
Well, you have even though it's not first base, you do have third base open, Colon on deck. Diaz at the plate. What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser. Wainwright will go tomorrow. Coverage begins at 5:30. Diaz has scored 2 runs. The point being, if you fall behind here, if you walked him, it's not necessarily the worst thing.
Yeah, with the control of Bowman, that's a valid point. Nobody, usually even players, don't think about third base being open, because usually if you pitch around the guy, that congests things, and could be, you know, if you end up walking him, pitching around him, and the pitcher ekes one in there, then that could be the ball game.
Good changeup, 2-1. It's an effective pitch. Now time is called.
Very simply put, Dan, the reason the good changeup is an effective pitch is a pitcher makes a hitter commit before he wants to.
The 2-1.
Hitters are trained to wait, wait, wait. A good changeup prevents them from waiting.
Runner at second base is Flores. 3-1 pitch to Diaz up. Change up again.
Yeah.
Now he's got him 3-2. Go back to the changeup here.
Well, either way, you don't throw a breaking ball here. It's either fastball with the sinker or a changeup. That's the one thing about the changeup. It opens the door for a good fastball.
Runners off with this pitch. The 3-2. Changeup missed low and away. So you bring up Colon with the bases loaded. Again, not necessarily the worst thing. But you got to get Colon out.
Bartolo Colon has become a cuddly, little pudgy doll for Mets fans.
They love him.
They do. And with good reason. He's a colorful guy.
He is sacrificed. He is struck out. No balls, 1 strike. Bases loaded for Bartolo Colon.
Now, with that said, I don't think he's an all-star, as Terry Collins, who could do anything he wants, as the winner of the National League last year, chose Colon to represent the Mets in San Diego a couple of weeks ago.
0-2 pitch, struck him out. So Bowman gets out of trouble. The Mets strand the bases loaded. We head to the 7th. Holiday Jerko Fam coming up. Colon pitching into this 7th inning, finishing up his warm-up tosses. The BJC Healthcare difference maker. Last 7 seasons, team has gotten better and better here. Had a couple of years with 74 wins, then 79, 90 a year ago, en route to taking off in the second half after they added Cespedes and made it into the World Series and eventually dropped that to the Kansas City Royals.
You and I talked about it last year. Yoenis Cespedes allowed the Mets to beat the Chicago Cubs last year, to sweep the Cubs and to go to the World Series, in our view. That wasn't only, it was great pitching and the offense was Cespedes, but if the Cardinals are going to get Colon, this is the inning you do it with your 3, 4, 5, and 6 hitters.
It's Holiday to start it. We haven't seen many breaking balls, but a couple in the previous at bat to Matt Holliday.
That's right.
The Mets had the heartbreak of 2006 against the Cardinals. Carlos Beltran looking at the called third strike by Adam Wainwright. Still hasn't been forgiven by Mets fans for that. And then they had back-to-back seasons in which they blew big leads.
Yeah.
And did not get into the postseason. Right. Some good teams that they had.
Who can forget the fight by Jose Reyes on the next to last day of the season? I believe it was 2007, that next year, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Well, allowing the Phillies to sneak in there and win 2008, I believe.
And they had
the following year
regular season losses in the final day of both 07 and 08,
right,
which eliminated them.
Right.
That's hit up the middle, backhanded by Walker with time, and he makes the play. Holiday is 0 for 3. Colon has allowed his 3 hits. Brings in Jed Jerko, who has homered again here tonight. Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard concerning Jed and these home runs. Cardinals with home runs in both games of a doubleheader, twice in a season. It's pretty good names on that list.
I think Stan the Man had 5 home runs in a doubleheader in 1949, I believe. That was tied about 15 years later by Nate Colbert, who was then with the San Diego Padres.
0-1 pitch to Jed Jerko. 0-2. I mean, how about that pitch right there by Colon? Here we are in the 7th. He's 43 years old and just paints the outside corner. Jerko didn't like it.
How many 0-2 counts has he had tonight?
And conversely, in game 1, Syndergaard, it seemed like he was going 3-2 on everybody.
Yeah, right.
Same pitch and spoiled by Jerko. Right-hander getting loose in the Cardinals' pen.
I can't remember Colon falling behind tonight like 2-0, 2-1. Matter of fact, I don't think he's had a 2-0 count. And maybe 1 or 2 2-1 counts, but not a 3-ball and 1 strike count to anybody.
1 ball, 2 strikes. This is our Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. On 1-2. Jerko pulls it foul.
Ray Miller, great pitching coach for the Orioles, used to be with Pittsburgh. His mantra as a pitching coach: work fast, change speeds, and stay ahead. That's a pretty good mantra, and that's what defines Bartolo Colon. He stays ahead, he changes speeds occasionally, good movement with that fastball, but for the most part, 1 pitch.
1-2. Had Jerko out in front, popped up into shallow left. Cespedes coming on to make the catch. At one point, he set down 10 in a row. Then it was a base hit by Greg Garcia. A little bloop into shallow left. He erased that with a double play to end the 6th. Then he's gotten the first 2 here in the 7th. Tommy Pham 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Strike one.
Biggest pitch in the game for a pitcher. Strike one.
The 0-1 pitch to Pham. Little bit high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Colon has struck out 7. Cardinals struck out 10 times in game 1. They've now struck out 10 or more times in a game 26 different times this year.
Wow.
1-2.
Well, the thing that separates the Cardinals tonight is how many pitches they've taken against Cologne.
The 1-2. Plaza Tire Fox Tracks. 2-2 the count. He has struck out 8. Bartolo Colon, the 43-year-old. 3-1 Mets, time to stretch. It's 3-1 Mets. Bartolo Colon has struck out 8 in this game. Rocket Arms, Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Most strikeouts in the National League this year. Max Scherzer, the St. Louis native, 181. Jose Fernandez, we'll see him in that 4-game series.
Almost have to, right?
He's unbeatable, it seems like, at home, too. I think he has 1 loss in his entire career at home.
Well, that unbelievable breaking ball, and fans having a lot of fun on a beautiful night here in Queens.
Sam Tuivailala is into the ball game, added to the roster for the doubleheader. So Matt Adams is in the game. He's at first base. Jed Jerko is at third. Colton Wong moves from second base to right field. Garcia shifts over to second base. Grichuk is in center. I know you got all that at home as we try to catch up here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sam Tuivailala is the new pitcher for St. Louis. Hard thrower, still trying to get that breaking pitch to be a better pitch for him, to be more consistent here. And there's that breaking pitch, and he hits Lagares. It's the second Met that's been hit here in Game 2.
And it's the 3rd time that the Mets have led off in this doubleheader with a hit batsman. Ball things.
Here's Cabrera with a big 2-out double in the 3rd. Sac fly RBI in the 5th. And he is struck out. It's only 77 pitches tonight for the starter, Jaime Garcia. Cabrera lifts a fly ball into shallow right center. Brandon Grichuk makes the catch, and there's one away. Brings in Cespedes. Well, Cespedes, he could catch up with a fastball and hit it 500 feet. This guy's fun to watch. You know, Tim,
he is.
Remember the Cardinals playing Oakland and Boston, Detroit in interleague play. And I was saying to Gary Cohen, the Mets broadcaster, before Game 1 today, in those series, Cespedes was the best player on the field for either side. Rosario from his knees and a stolen base.
No chance with that jump that Lagares had. A rare stolen base. The Mets are last in the majors in stolen bases. What do they have, 21, I think?
Cardinals right there with them.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, there's one of those situations, too. This is the dangerous man that can't beat you in this lineup. First base open. Be careful.
True.
3-1 our score. We're in the bottom of the 7th. It's only a 2-run Mets lead. The 1-0 pitch. Tuivailala converted to a pitcher, and for obvious reasons, big arm, throws hard, big guy, but still trying to develop that secondary pitch.
That's a 24th stolen base of the year for the Mets, and it ties them with the Cardinals. Cardinals with 24, the Mets with 24.
The 2-1 pitch to Cespedes. Good fastball at 95.
Trying to get inside to a quick bat.
Two and two. And it wasn't just his bat that we saw in those series. It was his arm. He's got a tremendous arm.
Yes.
He was running well at that time. Defensively stood out. 2-2 pitch. Good fastball at 95, and he struck him out. So there's 2 outs after he hit Lagares, and it brings in Flores, who is 3 for 3. Singled to center. He's doubled and then singled off of Bowman, who pitched in the 6th and was left stranded with the bases loaded. The home run tonight by Jed Jerko, and in Game 1, the Cardinals have now homered in 17 straight. That's just 2 games shy of the franchise mark, which was set back in 2006. Lagares is running, throw to third, and the ball gets away, and Jerko able to get it. Lagares, his second stolen base.
Boy, that was almost a perfect throw by Rosario. Alberto throwing a bullet to third base. I mean, it was right on the money. Jerko couldn't come up with it. The runner and the ball arrived at the same time, but had Jerko caught that ball, I think he might be out.
Agreed.
Bad play to make the third out at third base, but that would have been the case had Jerko made the play.
And by the way, that home run by Jerko gives the Cardinals 138 this year, surpassing their entire total hit last year. And we're only in late July.
Yeah, with 9 weeks left.
2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs, runner at third. Two and two.
One thing the Mets have, or the Cardinals have not done to Flores is come inside all night. This guy likes the ball away. He's singled twice to center. Make that a double to center, single to center, and a single to right. He loves to extend his arms and hit the ball to the fat part of the field. So you got to crowd him. Like that. Good location from Tuivailala. See, that's a different Flores swing right there.
Three-two pitch. That's driven out to deep right field. Wong is on the move, overran it, but still makes the catch. Colton Wong with the catch in right. It stays a 3-1 Mets lead. Now, thank you, Scotty, as Chicago has posted a loss. If the Cardinals win and come back in this game tonight, they would be 5.5 games back of the Cubs in the NL Central Division. A loss tonight, 6.5. But they pick up a half game with the win from game 1 in this doubleheader. Addison Reed is the new pitcher. Reed, the former Oakland A, he was picked up last year. It's our Chevy called to the pin. Since June 30th, New York's bullpen 5-1 with a 1.76 ERA. They are 5th in the major leagues with a collective ERA that's just over 3. So Randall Grichuk, Colton Wong, Alberto Rosario for the Cardinals here in the top of the 8th. And a slider taken for a strike. Grichuk is flied out to right, and he is struck out. Reed has been really good this year for the Mets. ERA under 2.
Underrated. One of the more underrated relievers in the National League.
45-2 the Mets this year when leading after 7.
Reed's really a closer pitching the 8th inning.
I wonder if Terry Collins would think about doing things differently when you go back, Tim, to the bases loaded in the 6th. Cologne coming up. If you're only going to use him for one more inning, which is what they've done.
Certainly valid.
You know, why not pinch hit for Cologne in that spot?
Sure.
Strikeout of Grichuk. Well, Bartolo Colon with 8 strikeouts here tonight as he allowed just 3 base hits, 1 run. That was the home run by Jed Jerko. Nothing fancy from Bartolo. Didn't hit a man, didn't walk a man.
Nothing really fancy from Addison Reed either. We talked about all the saves that this man has amassed. 2012 to 2014, 3 years, he had 101 saves. 2 years with Chicago, the White Sox, his high was 40. And then that 1 year with Arizona. He is a good pitcher.
Bartolo Colon threw 22 balls tonight total.
That's amazing.
And at the back end of the games for the Mets, they've got Familia, who has saved 51 consecutive games, 35 this year. Here's a 1-1. So you talk about really shortening a game with Reed, a former closer, then Familia.
Sure.
Starters get you, let's say, 6-7 innings and a lead. You're probably going to win. 2-1 pitch to Colton Wong.
So one thing that defines the Mets this year, often they get to the 8th without the lead because of their offense.
Wong, little flare out to shallow center, should be caught. Lagares is there, and there's 2 down. Crowd tonight 37,116. 3-7-1-1-6. Alberto Rosario 1 for 2 with a double back in the 3rd. In that 3rd inning, it was a leadoff double. Cardinals could not advance him, couldn't bring him in. Strike 1. Off the end of the bat, no balls, 2 strikes. Rosario way off the plate. Reed trying to hit that outside corner. I'm not sure where he's standing on the plate. He could reach a pitch. It tails back in on the outside corner.
Now, of course, Reed doesn't throw one. He throws that slider out there. It keeps going away from the right-handed batter. Probably what Rosario will get right here. Nope, fastball.
Outside corner.
Yeah.
Good work by the Reed. Mets on top. It's 3-1 here in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. This Bud's for you. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Bottom of the 8th, it's 3-1 Mets leading the Cardinals here at Citi Field in New York. Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin with you. Jim Hayes is here. Dean Kekeffer back in the big leagues, and it's our Chevy called to the pen.
Dean up earlier in the year, and as Dan explained so correctly, used as a 26th man last week, but a 25th man this week, as the rosters are allowed to be expanded from 25 to 26 for doubleheaders.
So the changes, not only with adding a 26-man to your roster for Game 2, but also with the umpires. The home plate umpire for Game 1, not a part of Game number 2, as he gets the night off. This is Neil Walker, the switch hitter. Ground ball that's hit left side. There's Diaz, circles the ball and makes the play over to Adams, stretching. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Home plate umpire Mike Winters, who is the crew chief, asking for a new baseball after that ball was put in play on the ground ball. Hit by Walker, and it brings in Loney. Dean has done a really nice job, and the Cardinals look at him more than just a lefty specialist, but also a guy that can get right-handers out too and give you multiple innings. But really tough on the lefties.
Well, when you drop down like that, you throw that sinking fastball in on the hands and then can also throw it away. It makes it doubly tough because the left-hander has got to guard both sides of the plate, and he can't do that.
Tim, you'll notice he kind of jumps at a lefty and also has different arm angles against the lefties too, and he gets 2 quick outs. It's the beauty of this game. Any way you can to try to get somebody out.
You make them give. That's what a left-hander does to a left-handed batter. Once that front side is gone, he's dead.
We were talking earlier in the year about why do lefties struggle against lefties and right-handers can hit right-handers. And if you start thinking about it in its simplest form, how many times growing up do left-handed batters really face lefties? Most kids that they face, high school, college, whatever, they're right-handers. And Deke Kiekhaefer has a quick 1-2-3 inning. So with that, we head to the ninth. It's 3-1 Mets. Jerry's Familia, the closer for the Mets, takes over. Perfect 35 of 35. Now watch this and see if it happens in this inning. How many pitches the hitters of the Cardinals swing on pitches out of the zone?
They ought to take a strike, and that would calm that down.
And they talk about the great late movement that Familia has in terms of everything starts out, looks like a strike, and then boom, way out of the zone. But it's late movement.
So take a strike.
Yep.
You're trailing by more than one. Used to be you're trailing by more than one. You take a strike, try to fight your way on base with a walk or get into a good hitting situation. That is a thing of the past, unfortunately.
First pitch by Familia, taken low. Again, starts out in the zone for the hitter, looks like a strike, and then right out of the zone. So we'll see if that plays out here in this ninth inning. One ball, one strike. A scoreless inning by Addison Reed in relief of Bartolo Colon, and now Familia. Mets have not issued a walk in this game. 1-1 pitch. July 30th, 2015, the last blown save. That was against San Diego, so it's nearly been a year. As we play in game 2 of this doubleheader on the 26th of July.
He was an all-star for a reason.
2-1 pitch. Two and two.
Not only a good sinker, but if he gets a count 0-2 to a left-handed batter, he can throw that split also. Devastating.
The 2-2. Adams, fly ball, center field. One away. One of the bright spots today, outside of winning game number 1 for the Cardinals, the performance of Jed Jerko. Homered in game 1, homers in game 2. And that's your Nissan drive of the game.
What normally happens with Garcia in a situation like this, he will take a strike. He may change it this at bat, but normally he takes a strike when the Cardinals are trailing by more than 1 in late innings.
Looks at a strike. The 0-1 pitch. 0-2.
That looked like the split finger fastball right there. A lot slower than the heavy sinker that Familia throws.
Puts it in play. Tying run will come to the plate for the Cardinals. But that swing by Greg Garcia.
As far as Greg is concerned, there's no such thing as an emergency swing.
No.
I mean, there's a count where, or an at bat where he gets behind in the count, 0-2, punches it to left field. Oh, if more major league players could do that. With 2 strikes, take a different approach. Nobody with a better approach, we said it in game 1, than Greg Garcia on the Cardinal team.
Now Aledmys Diaz. Familia has not allowed a home run in 170 at-bats. It's the longest streak to begin a season for a Met. And remember, Orel Hershiser pitched here in New York, didn't allow a home run in his first 180 against him back in 1999. The 0-1 pitch. 0-2.
This guy does it with raw power, though.
Sure does.
Only 26 years old, so he'll be around for a long time.
And the 0-2 pitch to Diaz. Tonight's Budweiser player of the game, Bartolo Colon, 7 innings. He had not pitched 6 innings in his last 3 starts. That was his longest drought since back in 2013. He goes 7 here tonight. Matt Holliday has never faced Familia.
0 for 4 on the night. He could make up that 0 for 4 with 1 swing of the bat against Familia.
The 0-1.
No doubles defense at third. Protecting against the extra base hit is Wilmer Flores.
Here's a 1-1. Holliday pulls it foul. And the Cardinals down to their final strike here in game 2 of the doubleheader. On 1-2. Two and two. Three and two. Tough pitch to take.
It was a ball. Looked like it was inside the mat. You know you're going to get the fastball. Where's it going to be? Holiday with tremendous power the other way.
Three-two pitch to Holiday. Struck him out. Mets win 3-1, and they split the doubleheader with St. Louis. Well, long day of baseball. Both teams earn a win. Rubber game tomorrow night. And for the Cardinals, Adam Wainwright on the mound.
Think about it, Dan. Only 9 runs scored in this 2-game series. Matt Holiday with somebody over the dugout, some moron who thinks this is his time to shine. All's well that ends well as far as Matt going into the stands. He was upset.
So the final 3-1 post-game show. Scott Mormon, Al Hrabosky standing by.